Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into a really powerful message about what it actually takes to win, not just in sales or business, but in pretty much any big challenge you can think of. We're going to look at two kind of ancient stories that will totally change how you think about persistence and commitment. So, the whole thing kicks off with this pretty stark idea that our biggest enemy is, well, it's usually ourselves. We lose the war in our own heads before we even step onto the battlefield. We accept defeat before the fight even begins. To really drive this home, the material gives us this fantastic little story. Let's start with this one, the story of a surprisingly stubborn bird, and what it can teach us about, not taking no for an answer. Okay, so a bird asks a tree for some food. The tree says no. For most of us, that's where the story ends, right? But not for this bird. Oh no. Instead of just flying away, it kicks off this absolutely incredible chain reaction. Just look at this strategy. The bird doesn't just ask again, it escalates. It realizes, okay, I can't pressure the tree directly, so who can? It goes to the carpenter. Can't get the carpenter? It goes to the king. It just keeps moving up the chain, creating leverage out of thin air. It's kind of brilliant. And here's where it all comes together. The bird finds the one leverage point that works, the ants. And then the pressure just cascades all the way back down. The ants scare the elephant scares the king scares the carpenter. You see where this is going? And boom, there you have it. The tree, faced with all that pressure, finally gives in. All because one tiny, seemingly powerless bird refused to quit and got strategic. It just found another way. So, a clever bird gets a snack. What's the big deal, right? Well, how does this actually apply to us, in the real world of trying to get things done? Let's dig into that. And this is the gut punch question the source material hits us with. Seriously, if a little bird can pull that off, why do we give up so easily? Are we just quitting at the first no? Are we failing to find a different angle simply because our first shot didn't work? It's something to think about. Okay, story number 2. We're shifting gears now from persistence to something way more intense. We're talking about absolute, no turning back commitment. So here's the setup. A king and his army are facing what looks like, honestly, a suicide mission. They are outnumbered 2-1. The odds are just completely, totally stacked against them. So the king, he comes up with this really high-risk, high-reward plan, a surprise attack in the dead of night. But it's not the attack itself that's the real story here. It's what he does after his army crosses that one lonely bridge. Can you just imagine being one of those soldiers? You cross into enemy land, and then you turn around and watch your only way home go up in flames. Your only escape route is just gone. That changes things. And this right here is the psychological genius of it. With a bridge, retreat is always in the back of your mind. It's a safety net. Victory is just one possibility. But when you burn that bridge, suddenly, retreat is impossible. Victory becomes the only option. There's no plan B. And that incredible story, that's what brings us to this core idea, this no retreat mindset. It's about how you can literally manufacture your own success by changing the rules of the game. The term for this is closing the outflow. It means you intentionally put yourself in a position where going back is not an option. You create a situation where you simply have to succeed because there's literally no other choice left. So this became the Army's new mantra. Now, the translation's a bit harsh, but you get the idea, right? We have nothing left to lose. We either win or we perish right here. It's that ultimate do or die attitude that forces you to give everything you've got. Okay, so we've got a persistent bird and a king who really likes fire. So what does this all mean for you in your battles? Let's put these two big ideas together. Here's the real takeaway. It's a two-part formula. You need the relentless creative persistence of that bird. Don't take no for an answer. But then you have to combine it with the absolute total commitment of that king. You have to be willing to burn your bridges and close off your escape routes. And so we end with a question, a really personal one for you to think about. In your work, in your life, what's your bridge? What's that safety net, that backup plan, that little option to retreat that's holding you back from being fully committed? What bridge do you need to burn?